Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle once again. It is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on incredible radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, heard around the world on the iHeart Radio application. Download today. It is free. The website, put the .com on it. Doggone it, that's ClemsonSportsTalk.com. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line, be a part of the show anytime, any place, and of course, anywhere. The big topic out of Tiger Town today, not basketball, late night basketball, 9:35. Oh, gee. Yeah, right? You feel like you got to go full catch a nap mode for that one as the Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide face off. More on that in a little bit. But the news that came out today about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and his decision to go pro, we'll read what he put out on his Instagram account. If you follow us on Twitter or if you subscribe to our website, you got that update. And again, we can also, and we don't choose to blast you with a text message, but we can. So if you like that kind of stuff, come on in, be a part of the program on our website, and support us. ClemsonSportsTalk.com. If that's too much typing, ClemsonRadio.com will get you to the same spot. Just $63.17 for 1 year of coverage. A bit of an homage to the Tigers' beatdown of South Carolina 20 years ago in Williams-Brice Stadium. Saturday's game, domination, but in a different way. I know Gamecock fans look at that 16-7 final score and go, man, just a couple of plays away. Using the old Dabo Swinney mantra, some of them, but that game did not feel close at all. But again, if you are a Gamecock hanging out with us,
so you can continue to peek over the fence at the best radio show in the nation.
Thank you for being a part of what we do. So we begin. Jeremiah Trotter, All-American linebacker, the son of former NFL All-Pro linebacker Jeremiah Trotter, deciding that he is going to go pro. He put it out on his Instagram account. We'd love to have you weigh in, much like Cam has. We'll get to what Cam had to say in just a few minutes, but it was a two-part Instagram. He said, I would first like to thank God for the blessings he has given me during my time at Clemson. Without God, I would not be where I am today. Next, I'd like to thank my family, past coaches, and friends I have made throughout my life who have been with me on my journey. I genuinely hold all of you dear because of the sacrifices, love, and care you have given me. I have made memories with each of you that I will cherish for the rest of my life. I love you all. I want to thank my Clemson coaches. All of you have helped show me what it takes to excel in football while teaching me life lessons. All these lessons have helped me develop. All these lessons have helped develop me into the man of God I am today. To my Clemson teammates, thank you. All of you are not just my friends, but are brothers for life. Much of my success on the field is a testament to the many hours of hard work we put in. He went on to say, last but not least, thank you, Clemson fans. During my time at Clemson, you have shown my family and I nothing but love and appreciation. We have the best fans in the country. I will never forget the energy you filled Death Valley with during every home game. After long thought and prayer, I'm officially announcing that I am taking the next step in a lifelong dream and declaring for the 2024 NFL Draft. I will always be a Clemson Tiger. Go Tigers. That's what Jeremiah Trotter put out earlier today. And again, you can go over to our website and read more about it. And we put out the graphic just after the news came out. He is a 2024 Butkus Award finalist, leading the team in tackles with 87, leading the team in tackles for loss with 14.5, and has 5.5 sacks on the year. He also has 5 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, 1 return for a score, and a partridge in a pear tree. for Jeremiah Trotter. So, what are your thoughts on the news? Again, it's not shocking news, okay? We did talk here on the program, though, yesterday with William Qualkenbush about, and specifically I asked about the two linebackers, Jeremiah Trotter and Barrett Carter, and what the situation would be with those guys in their decision whether or not to play another year collegiately or turn pro. Early in the year, out of the gates, game 1, game 2, I probably would have leaned that Trotter makes a return and Carter is the guy who was looking to go and get to the league. I don't know that Carter's mindset has changed all that much, but that's the way it felt from the outside looking in. Now, with Trotter leaving, and he will not play in the bowl game, John Blau, who used to join us on Wednesdays, confirmed through Jeremiah Trotter's father that he will not play in Clemson's bowl game. Obviously, that means the Tigers will have to do some maneuvering around at linebacker. More on that in a minute. We'll talk about what that could mean for Clemson. And I think it's honestly, I think it's pretty wide open right now. But now you have to wonder, is this indicative of the decision that will be made by Barrett Carter? Because if you're Carter, you could look at it a couple of different ways, right? And it's a complementary position. You're not directly competing with one another per se, but in some respects you are. But where it becomes complementary is when one guy's really good, he might be occupied, which frees you up. So in Carter's mind, he may be thinking, okay, the focus and attention in 2024 is going to really be on me if I stick around, because these two guys were kind of seen as two of the top 5 linebackers in the country coming into the year. So if you're Barrett Carter, you might think to yourself, without my right-hand man, so to speak, maybe I'm better off going ahead and moving on so that the numbers that I put up are greater than what maybe I feel like I'm going to put up the next year. But then there's also the fact that that guy being really good takes away from some opportunity for you. So maybe he sees it as a chance to come back, maybe be the dog, so to speak, of the linebackers and make a lot of plays defensively. So I think Carter's decision, will certainly be one that will continue to be debated. Here's what Cam had to say, though, about Jeremiah Trotter's decision. He said, "What a bright future Trotter has in the NFL. Big time congratulations to that young man. Thanks for everything you have done for Clemson. Now go get your money." And you know what, Cam, you bring this up, and this was another reason that I thought that Jeremiah Trotter might be a guy that would stick around if his year, but his year just accelerated, right? Like it was like he was just strapped to a rocket. And we've just seen, how good he's gotten throughout the year. He's still got some limited ability in coverage. Middle linebacker types do. It's kind of the nature of the offense to try to figure out how to get them matched up against a running back out of the backfield or a tight end down the field. You didn't want to see James Skalski running in coverage. You didn't want to see Ben Boulware running in coverage. And you don't want to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. running in coverage, although all three at times certainly made plays down the field. All that being said, I did wonder with Jeremiah's situation, given the fact that his father played in the NFL, and I don't know what his father's net worth is. Quite frankly, no clue. I would assume it's upwards of $10+ million, maybe more. Let me throw this in the Google machine. Let's see what we could come up with. Jeremiah Trotter net worth. And not that what your parents has, a lot lower than I expected. A lot lower than I expected. It says between $1 million and $5 million. I was thinking it would be greater than. And again, look, I'd love if I had $5 million in the bank. But okay, here's another one that says 10 million estimated in 2021. So we'll go with that. We'll go on the high end. Just for the sake of this conversation. I did kind of wonder if, because his dad has some money, there wouldn't be this rush to go get money or to go make money. And I think you always want to be able to, stand on your own 2 feet. And certainly with NIL, players are capable of doing that a little bit earlier in their career or in their life. But if you come from a family, when you see videos of like Shannon Sharp talking about where he and Sterling grew up, or when you see Nick Eason giving a tour of where he grew up, then you might go, man, I get it why a guy would leave and go pro, try to help himself out, try to help his family out. All of the positives that can come from a lucrative, a generational contract, right? That these players, a lot of them, the really good ones, can get. From there, I think the thing that you have to wonder is, when you've got some of that already, what's the rush? And that's where I think you look at what he's done numbers-wise this year and recognize that this is a year where Jeremiah Trotter Jr. has gone out and earned a bag. He's earned the money by his play on the field. Then you also factor in the loss of his mother to breast cancer earlier this year. As a matter of fact, that was February the 28th, which is what, 9 months ago? Let's see, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Exactly 9 months ago to this day. And I can tell you, as somebody who lost a parent when I was younger, that, depending on her dreams and aspirations for her son and what their final conversations were like, he could also be heavily, and rightfully so, influenced by his mother's dreams for him and the things that she said along the way and the encouragement that she gave along the way. And I think that too has to be considered when you think about the decision that he made to go ahead and leave Clemson and take the opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream. Now, again, what does that say for Carter? I see Cam saying, man, I hope Qualk's right that Carter comes back. I feel like, from the standpoint of what Carter looked like this year, he was one of the guys, Barrett Carter, when he initially got to campus, just kind of jumped off the page. And maybe some of the feeling that he didn't jump off the page quite as much as he once did is a byproduct of just, as people that cover this and as fans who watch this sport, you just kind of become immune to some of the great things somebody's doing. Like when they're flying around the field as a freshman, you're going, man, this dude, he's all over the place. Then by the time they're a junior and they're doing it, you're just kind of like, well, that's Barrett Carter doing what Barrett Carter does. And so you become a little, you just kind of become a little bit, to the point where you're numb on the greatness that you watch, and you tend to equate it more with that's just who he is. And so maybe some of our feelings about Barrett Carter right now and his play this year have come from those moments. But you knew how good Jeremiah Trotter was. And then to see him this year just continue to emerge in the pick six and, everything that he did as a playmaker for Clemson flashed and popped in a year where it needed to. And I don't get that same feeling about Barrett Carter. And it has nothing to do with the person or how hard he works or the investment. It just one guy flashed and the other one didn't to me this year. And it's not to say that Carter was bad by any means. It's kind of like if you go and look at like Cade Klubnik's numbers by comparison, and I did this the other day, not here on the show, but just personally, looking to see what Cade's numbers look like by comparison to Trevor, Deshaun, and Taj Boyd. Sorry, Kelly Bryant, I left you out. But I wanted to see second year, full 12 games, what do their stats look like? Because earlier in the year, when people were just all over Cade Klubnik about his play, I pulled those stats up and I put out a post on it, and he wasn't that far off from those guys. Well, now by the back end of the season, yeah, he's off. And the yardage number is where he's off. Completions, passing attempts, those things, touchdowns, yes, he's off, but yardage is the big, like you look at it and you go, wow, there's 1,000-yard gap in those numbers. But yet in opportunities to throw the football and completions, not a big difference, which means he's hitting on a little dink and dunk type stuff. Big Trev, the giant killer, DW4, they're going deep over the top, big plays, big touchdowns, and that's affecting their numbers by comparison, right? So players pop off the page. And Jeremiah Trotter Jr. did that. Now, how Clemson handles the situation at linebacker in the bowl game, because, as I said, he did announce that his father told John Blau of the Post and Courier that he would not be playing in the bowl game. So what does that do for Clemson? Again, you don't know who the matchup is. You don't even know what bowl game you're going to. So it's honestly, it's incredibly difficult to speculate what that's going to look like and who's going to do what. But it feels like, you may recall that Wade Woodaz has kind of been considered the most versatile of these guys, and has learned, and he talked about, kind of knowing, having to know the middle linebacker, having to know the weak side linebacker, kind of having to know it all. My guess is, and I don't know, certainly Kobe McLeod could step in and play some. If I had to guess, just off the hoof, I would imagine Woodaz shifts in to play that middle linebacker spot, which would be a little bit different for him to have to tote that load for an entire bowl game. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it ends up being McLeod. But then, based off of the way, we've seen him play, I think Khalil Barnes will probably fit in and slide down and be able to play that strong side linebacker spot, that nickel hybrid spot, allowing some of your better safeties, some of the other guys out there like Makuba, Mickens, and all. I think that's the play. I don't know that, but that's how I would do it, just for the numbers game, and because I know that Khalil Barnes is about as versatile of a player as you've got on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe I'm wrong. You let me know what you think. Again, 803-450-0086. Quick break. We'll come back with more right here on the show that shakes the Southland. What's up? What's up? Man, I'll tell you, I don't know. Not sure what they're going to do with that spot. Tough to say. Tough to say. All right, I got to trim that segment up to 20 minutes. Boom. I could do one more before the break. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably what I would do though. You know, I never hit the share. What a weirdo. Why can't I remember that, guys? Easiest part of this job, hitting the share button. Hardest thing to remember. So we'll let some more people come in and talk about it. Let's see. Segment 2. By the way, if you don't subscribe to our TikTok account, pop this one on from yesterday's show about the college football playoff. Go check that out. Go check that out on TikTok. There we go. All right. Back at it on a Tuesday afternoon. Mike Yuva, GamecockCentral.com joins us in hour 2. You want to make sure you're a part of that. Remember, you can watch the show, segments of it, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We put out cut-ups on TikTok. Follow us over there. Trying to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok. I don't even know if we can go live on TikTok at that point, but I guarantee this. If and when I can, I will. And we need 1,000 subscribers. We're about halfway there. Come on in. Come over to TikTok. But Callie is hanging out with us today and commented in the forums and said, do you really want to play Oregon State? Nah, I don't. And so, Callie, this is a interesting development that's kind of happening right now with the bowl games, and ESPN every week after the games take place, they start to put together the bowl scenarios, tracking the bowl scenarios, and for whatever reason, whether it's the DJ Uiagalelei Clemson thing, just dumb luck. I mean, I don't know. It's felt like all season. And again, the people that are putting this together are human beings. It's like Mark Schlabach and somebody else that, it's two guys that line up the bowl projections. Kyle Bunaguro or Garo. I'm not even, I don't know. Sorry, Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. But they come up with and they put together, their list of bowl games. And it's and whether it's one or the other, I don't know. Every week, I haven't paid enough attention, but it does feel like they kind of are. They're kind of ribbing Clemson fans and maybe even ribbing DJ Uiagalelei and Oregon State by saying, "Yeah, I think that's a matchup that we'd like to see in a bowl game." And you can't seem to duck it. McCallie says not interested. Not interested in seeing the Tigers going up against Oregon State. I will say that from the standpoint of this new era of college football with the transfer portal, getting a chance to play against your former quarterback is kind of cool. Does build a huge amount of interest. And that's all bowl games that aren't in the college football playoff have. How can we get you to watch the Viero.com Bowl, the Weed Whacker Bowl? I mean, did you see what the Pop-Tart Bowl is doing? Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Swanee, I didn't realize until a couple of days ago that they're was a Pop-Tart Bowl. Well, it's the bowl formerly known as the Cheez-It Bowl, and it's had several renditions. But the Pop-Tarts Bowl, for the first time ever, will feature an edible mascot.
That is ridiculous.
And tasty as well. Now, this brings up a whole great debate about the best flavor of Pop-Tart. And apparently, the team that wins is going to somehow get a chance to eat some of the mascot. Now, in the picture they put out, they got this huge, like, Pop-Tart looking man. Imagine exactly what you would think. Any mascot shaped like a Pop-Tart. I can't think that that's actually going to be it, is it? Now, I could see maybe a suit with a bunch of Pop-Tarts hanging off of it. And then as a player comes by, they can, grab a tasty pastry. Boom, you see what I did there? But I can only think of a handful of flavors of Pop-Tarts. And there are only two that I think are really edible. And it might be a little off key. I know some of you may not agree, but strawberry and blueberry are the only ones you can eat. Dude, that cinnamon monstrosity, that disgusting, whatever that is, cinnamon sugar flavored. If you vote that one as the Pop-Tart to have, we are miles apart on probably more than that. They have a s'mores flavor, I think. Now, I preface this. Pop-Tarts with zero icing should not exist anywhere on the planet Earth, whether they are blueberry, strawberry, the cinnamon nastiness, the s'more flavored. If it doesn't have the icing on it, I that shouldn't even qualify as being a Pop-Tart. Hot take alert. That should be some other brand. That should be the off brand. That's a not tart. That's not a Pop-Tart. But apparently they're going to have an edible mascot. And the winning team is going to eat the mascot. But would you be interested? Now, this wouldn't be Clemson and Oregon State. I think that would be like the Holiday Bowl if that comes together. But the inaugural Pop-Tart Bowl, an edible mascot. I don't know. Let's see. Callie says, I don't know if the Gator Bowl and the city of Jacksonville are one and the same, but if Clemson plays the Gator Bowl, it would be a double because the Jags play 2 days later. Yet that's one a lot of people, a lot of Tiger fans are kind of hoping for. That they can go do the double dip, catch the Tigers, and then catch the Jaguars with Big Trev, the Giant Killer, Travis Etienne. Go check out those guys. Yeah, a lot of people are hoping that that'll be the case, Callie, for sure. All right, 803-450-0086. Quick break. We'll come back with more right here on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, I've got ESPN Plus. Let me just do some complaining here. Yesterday, logged in, no problem. Today, just keeps asking me to log in. And I actually had to call them. I actually had to call them one time to get to work. They were helpful. I couldn't believe it. One bite at a time. I guess so. They actually did, though. I thought, man, there's no way. Because, if you try to get in touch with any company this day and age to get some help, you don't ever get it. I hit up ESPN Plus, and, dude, there was a person, and they were walking me through getting everything to pull up. Because when I was trying to go to the bowl projections, which I looked at yesterday, let's doing it again. It won't let me in. And I cannot be the only person. Every time I hit the article, it takes me to streaming. And then when I go back, it takes me to get ESPN Plus. I'm in a constant loop here. Constant loop. So anyway, I can't even pull up the bowl projections, which is incredibly frustrating. But anyway, all right, what time is it? 4:47. All right, probably too tight not to put it to a break for just a minute. All right, I'll put a little countdown loop on. I'll be right back. All right. One more little thing and then we'll get rolling. So for anybody that just joined us, just putting you back on the loop real quick. Rolling along on a Tuesday afternoon, Mike Yuva, GamecockCentral.com, joins the program in just a little bit. And we will, of course, talk about that matchup between your Tigers and the Gamecocks from Saturday. And we'll get Mike's perspective on it, obviously, which is a unique perspective because it will be from the Gamecock persuasion, if you will. And we'll find out his thoughts on what took place in Williams-Brice Stadium. Was the game close, as some fine-feathered friends might want you to believe? I say no. I'm telling you, third quarter. And you go look. We put the stat out, but it was from like the South Carolina had the football at the end of the first quarter into the second. And then when that drive ended, until their second drive in the fourth quarter. I don't know if you were keeping score at home, but the Gamecocks had picked up exactly 2 yards. 2. And I, at some point in the third quarter, looked at Christopher Thompson, and I said, I don't know why Clemson would run the football again. I mean, well, I don't know why Clemson would pass the football again. I would just run the ball the rest of the day. And they pretty much did. And it really left the numbers for Cade Klubnik pretty poor. Brought up, and rightfully so, concerns from Clemson Tiger fans about the passing game. You know, I had been critical of DJ's 99 yards passing in a 30-0 win at Williams-Brice Stadium 2 years ago. I was critical of DJ's 99 yards passing in a 31-30 loss last year in Death Valley. And I didn't think that Cade Klubnik would just put up 100 yards exactly. So I, too, was surprised at the result. But I think, and as Dabo Swinney spoke about after the game, I think there came a point where Clemson knew Carolina could not beat them in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball when South Carolina was on defense. They certainly couldn't sniff Clemson when the Tigers were on defense. I mean, that was just, as I said, there were some hits on Spencer Rattler that in the NFL, players would have been fined and suspended. And I'm not saying it was a dirty shot. I'm just saying in the NFL, you can't breathe on the quarterback. Think back to the video we played on the program a few weeks ago of KJ Henry and the sack that he had that was ruled a roughing the passer. I mean, some of the hits that Spencer Rattler took, you might not like that kid. You might say, I don't use the word hate. I'll tell you where I do use the word hate. Like, I hate things that you eat. Like, I hate, if we can flash back, those gross brown cinnamon sugar Pop-Tarts. I hate those things. Don't hate people. Don't hate players. You know, don't hate other human beings. Go and talk about Rattler for a second. I got a lot of respect for that dude because let me tell you what he didn't have to do on Saturday night for South Carolina. He didn't have to keep getting up. He didn't have to keep getting up. The dude got planted like a little tree over and over. TJ Parker. Ha! The freshman fellow. If at some point in your life there sprouts a little Spencer Rattler in the middle of Williams-Brice Stadium, you'll know that was because TJ Parker put that dude in the dirt. I mean, to think about him being a freshman too, right? Like I know this week everybody's kind of been gushing about Khalil Barnes and his play, and rightfully so, because when you make back-to-back plays the way he did for the first time being a player at Clemson with back-to-back plays with forcing a turnover, having the scoop and score from 40-plus out for a touchdown, next play, the big deep ball interception, people are going to be talking about you. Heck, I talked about the impact that he might have with Jeremiah Trotter, you know, taking his talents to the NFL and not playing in the bowl game. But Parker, and the thing about it was all the hype and all the buzz was all about Peter Woods. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay that Peter Woods didn't flash or pop the way Parker did throughout the entire year. Because it's two different positions. It equates to why, even though Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins had huge plays and huge moments, a lot of times it was Cleveland Farrell and Austin Bryant coming off the edges that really popped. It's tough for those interior guys. They're doing some real dirty work. I mean, even think of like a Tyler Davis. It's like a road grader. Just in the middle, causing all kind of havoc, but not always making a play where you go, man, how about Tyler Davis? I think we're all guilty of tracking the football and watching the ball That's just the nature of the sport when you're not a coach or maybe a former player or a linebacker, somebody that's really been honed in on the nuances of the game. But man, Parker this year, over and over and over, was showing up. And it really, I think if you're kind of a person that was really worried about the future of Clemson with the defensive end, some of the young guys that they've got that haven't really had a lot of opportunity yet, I think you do have to feel like you've got this solid core of two young guys who you can rely on over the next handful of years to be impactful. Certainly that starts with TJ Parker. And then I think as his opportunities grow and as he continues to get stronger and stronger, you're going to see that same thing from a guy like Peter Woods. 803-450-0086. Don't forget, Mike Yuba joins us in hour number 2. We'll hit a quick break. We'll come back. The Tigers and the Crimson Tide hooping it up tonight in Tuscaloosa. We'll touch on that next. Stay with us. What's up, Timmy B? Boom, boom, boom. Got to back that up. Need about 5 seconds. Yep, there we go. And so I'm going to do this last segment live. And then I'm going to record the Yuva segment, and I'll publish it at 5 o'clock. Rest of the show will be on iHeartRadio. Again, subscribe to TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. And if you want to support what we do, come join us on our website. 17 cents a day. That's $63.17 for a year of coverage of your Tigers. Oh, man. All right. Hello, Beth. How are you? Long time no see. Long time no see. I was looking to see what's the spread on this Alabama Clemson basketball game. I don't remember seeing that. Alabama by 9. Good. Final segment of hour 1 coming up. Mike Yuva joins the program. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike_UVA, just like the University of Virginia's abbreviation. Mike Yuva joins us here. We'll talk about the Tigers and the Gamecocks from his perspective, which I think earlier I insinuated that it's the Gamecock perspective. It is not, but he does cover the Gamecocks. And I think Tiger fans who follow him would note that he does some ribbing of Tiger Nation when it comes down to the Clemson Tiger football team, which I know you don't like, but that's okay. That's his job. And I do a little ribbing of the Gamecocks as well. Mine is all in truth. Like when I tell you that Clemson has won, 17 games in Williams-Brice Stadium since 1980, and the Gamecocks have won 5 in that time. Yeah, that's ribbing and truthful, all in one. Now, the Tigers tonight, your Clemson Tiger men's basketball team, will take part in the inaugural ACC-SEC Challenge. There are 3 teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference ranked Your Tigers aren't one of them, even though Clemson is undefeated. Duke is 7, Miami is 8, and North Carolina is 17th. Now, a lot of people believe that this Clemson Tiger basketball team, even minus Hunter Tyson, who was phenomenal a year ago, a lot of the pieces that Clemson's got this year are really good, but it's all predicated by the play of the big man, P.J. Hall. And Hall, I have argued over the past year or more, I think from a skill set standpoint, just from touch around the basket, the ability to shoot a hook with the left hand, the ability to shoot the hook with the right hand, the ability to shoot from the perimeter, the ability to face up, dribble drive, maybe even use a little spin move. I think P.J. Hall is the single most versatile center Clemson has ever had. On the offensive end of the court, and I get it. Some people are probably screaming, oh, what about Horace Grant? Well, Horace Grant wasn't a center. You know, you'd be putting him in the category alongside Dale Davis, who wasn't a skilled offensive weapon. Sharon Wright, who played some center, but, I mean, wasn't really the center's body. Tree Rollins, who went on to a long career in the NBA. Eldon Campbell, who went on to a long career in the NBA. I just feel like the game has changed so much that even the American players are looking a lot more like European players. And that's not a bad thing for the sport because it's lended to versatility at the pivot. It's extended the game out to the perimeter. And I think that's positive for a game that kind of got bogged down in the lane for many years, partially because of Michael Jordan's ability to dribble, drive, penetrate to the basket, and that's what everybody wanted to do. And now it's become a game because of Steph Curry and guys who can shoot the ball. I mean, heck, you look at, you know, Wembanyama in the NBA and what he can do at 7'5", and just the game has changed in our lives, and I think it's been for the good. I think it has been for the good. Now, I do miss some of what we used to see, the wow and the flash of guys getting to the hoop. But tonight is the inaugural ACC SEC Challenge. Things get going at 7 o'clock with 3 matchups. LSU's at Syracuse on ESPN2. Number 21, Mississippi State is at Georgia Tech on the ACC Network at 7. And Notre Dame is at South Carolina on the SEC Network at 7. At 7:30, you've got number 8, Miami, at number 12, Kentucky on ESPN. Also at 7:30, you've got Missouri at Pitt on ESPNU. And then about an hour and a half later, you've got NC State at Ole Miss on ESPN2 at 9 o'clock. And then the nightcap, Clemson at number 20, Alabama on ESPN at 9:30. The Tigers are undefeated. Alabama's entering after a hotly contested matchup against Oregon. I think they have 1 loss on the year. The Tigers are undefeated. That game with Oregon, I was looking at the score earlier. You talk about up-tempo, man alive, 99-91. 99-91. Actually, did I say a loss? A win over Oregon, 99-91. But the Crimson Tide do have 1 loss on their schedule. So they're 19-0 in their last 19 games at home. 19-0. They're favored by 9. So this is a team in Alabama that last year was one of the top teams in the country. Not necessarily that same caliber this year. But for Clemson, this will be a great test. Good measuring stick game, if you will. And so while Clemson's had some games out of the gate against subpar competition where they sort of maybe played to the level of their competition, this is a true test for the Tigers. Like, this is the kind of sort of Sweet 16 pre-Atlantic Coast Conference test that you need to get into. Now, as for the rest of the ACC SEC Challenge, it picks up tomorrow with Rick Barnesy, and the number 10 Tennessee Volunteers at number 17 North Carolina. That's on ESPN at 7:15. You've got number 14 Texas A&M at Virginia on ESPN2 at 7:15 tomorrow. Florida's at Wake Forest on ESPNU at 7:15. Number 7 Duke's at Arkansas on ESPN at 9:15. Virginia Tech's at Auburn tomorrow on ESPN2 at 9:15. Florida at Florida State on the ACC Network at 9:15. And Boston College is at Vanderbilt on the SEC Network at 9:15. The only ACC team not a part of this is Louisville. The Cardinals will host Bellarmine tomorrow at 8 p.m. So everybody's lined up, knocking them up or setting them up and knocking them down. All right, we'll hit a quick break. We'll come back with more Mike Huva in hour number 2. Stay with us. Oh my God. Oh God, that's hilarious. All right. Okay. I can't. Oh man, where's it? Yes, before that laugh. Everybody's on tomorrow at 8 p.m. So
I've never done it.
Everybody's lined up, knocking them up or setting them up. All right. Everybody's lined up or setting them up and knocking them down. All right. We'll hit a quick break. We'll come back with more Mike Huva in hour number 2. Stay with us. Well, the listeners are going to wonder why I'm laughing. That's hilarious. That's one of the funniest flubs we've ever had on this program. You guys got to see it live. All right. Again, the website's ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Let me see. We got some comments. Beth, let's get her up. What's up, Beth? How are you? Timmy B, thanks, buddy, for checking in. Ooh, look at Timmy B. Got the Tiger taking down the Gamecock there. Let's see. Timmy B, Sweet 16. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Timmy got the joke. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, man. Justin wants to know about Hunter Helms being in the portal. Not surprised. Dude wants to play. This just further solidifies my belief that Clemson is going to go into the portal to bring in a quarterback. What caliber, though? I don't know. I think next year, I think they'll go 1-2 with Cade and Vizina, and then this other guy, whoever that other person, could be. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Good for him, man. Good for him. All right. Mike Uval will join us. We'll record that one and we'll pop it up at 5 o'clock. Okay. Y'all take care. Thanks for hanging out with us. Again, the website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com.